Hi, I'm Rachel Gray. Welcome to my cooking channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make pretzel buns. Pretzel buns are one of my favorites. They have that chewy, dark outside with that little sprinkle of salt. They're fluffy and tender on the inside, and they're really easy to make, especially if you have a steam oven. Typically, you need to dip them in a boiling soda bath to achieve that chewy outside texture. Today, we're going to achieve that same chewy texture just by using the steam oven. So these are the ingredients that we'll need for our pretzel buns. We need 1.5 cups of warm water, about 105 to 110 degrees. 2 teaspoons of dry yeast, I use SAF yeast, and 3 tablespoons of honey. 3 tablespoons of soft butter, 1 teaspoon of salt, now I use kosher salt, 4 to 4.5 cups of flour, and then later on to finish our pretzel buns, we will need 1 egg to make an egg wash, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and then we'll combine that with 1/2 cup of water to make a baking soda wash. And then you'll need some salt to go on top of your pretzel buns. Now I like kosher salt for this, but you could use some sea salt or pretzel salt, whatever you have. So the first thing I'm going to do to make this dough is take my warm water, like I said, 105 to 110 degrees. If you don't have a thermometer, it's just whatever you take a bath in. And I'm going to add my 2 teaspoons of yeast to it. And then I'm going to feed my yeast, and I'm going to add the 3 tablespoons of honey. And I'm gonna give it a nice stir. And then I'm just gonna let it sit for about 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes. You can see that it's bubbled and active, so I know my yeast is good to go. I'm gonna make the dough in my KitchenAid, and you'll notice I have a new KitchenAid. My other one died after 30 years, so I got a new one because I can't live without it. I'm gonna start by putting my paddle attachment on, and then I'm going to put the butter in the bottom. It's nice and soft, and my yeast mixture. If there's any undissolved honey in the bottom, then just scrape it out. Then I'm going to add a little bit of flour, and then put the salt on top of that. And then I'm just gonna mix that together. And I'm gonna beat that together until it's nice and smooth. And then I'm gonna scrape down my sides, and I'm gonna add a little bit more flour. I'm gonna add another cup to it. And now that I've beaten that in, I've got like a shaggy kind of mass, and I'm going to change to my dough hook. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour over it, probably about 1/4 cup at a time. See how it's kind of forming a dough, but it's still really sticky. So a little bit more flour. So this is what I'm looking for. It's formed a mass and it's pulled away from the sides, but it's still a little stuck to the bottom. It's not sticky when you touch it, but it's not a stiff dough. That's what I want. And now I'm just gonna take some butter, and I'm gonna butter the sides and then pull it off the hook. I'm gonna just kind of scrape that up, put butter on the side where it isn't. And then I'm just gonna form a little ball with my dough, and it will all be sort of coated with butter. I'm just gonna cover this and set it aside to raise until it's about doubled in size, about 45 minutes to 1 hour. So it's been an hour, and you can see my dough is at the top. It's risen, and I'm just gonna take it and punch it down. That will deflate it. I'm just gonna put a little teeny bit of flour on my work surface, and then I'm just gonna turn the dough out onto the flour. What you want to do is divide this into 8 pieces. So I'm just gonna take a bench scraper and cut it in half, and then half this way. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and divide those in half. And now I should have 8 equal parts. Now I'm just gonna take that, and just like I did in the pita bread one, I'm just gonna put that down and roll it in my hand. And once I have the dough into a ball, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it onto a silpat on a baking sheet. I'm just gonna take each one of these and turn it into a ball. And now that they're all into balls, we have some decisions to make. The decision is if we let it raise or if we do it right now. If you do it right now, the dough inside is a lot more dense, like a pretzel. And if you let it raise, then it's a little fluffier. So it really just depends on preference. And so since I'm going to go for the denser, more pretzel-like inside, I'm gonna go ahead and just keep doing them now. And so the first thing I want to do is turn my steam oven on just to get it all nice and steamy at 210 degrees, just on steam. Then I'm going to take a half a cup of water and add it to my half a teaspoon of baking soda. And this is gonna make a baking soda wash. If you weren't doing it in a steam oven, you would need to take baking soda and water and then boil the buns in the water. But because we have a steam oven, we don't need to do that. But we do need the baking soda reaction. And then I'm just gonna spread it over each bun. I don't get too worried about whether or not the bottoms are pretzel-y, so I don't worry about turning them. Okay, so my buns have been painted with the baking soda wash, and now I'm just gonna put them in the steam oven for 2 minutes. So go ahead and put that in the steam oven. I'm just gonna take the egg and I'm gonna add a little bit of water and then I'm just gonna whisk that together to make an egg wash. Okay, that's ready. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take that out. And then I'm going to switch the mode to convection steam at 400 degrees. So they kind of look like this. I don't know if you can see. Got that sort of bagely texture. That's that chewy outside that we're looking for. And I'm just gonna take them and put a little egg wash on them. So I've got my egg wash right here and I'm just gonna brush it over each one. Then I'm going to take a sharp knife and just cut across each one. And you just want to form a little X across each bun. Then I'm just going to take a little teeny bit of salt, kosher salt, and sprinkle it over the top of them. My oven is now up to temperature and I'm just going to put these in and bake them 400 degrees in the convection steam for about 12 to 15 minutes until they're nice and dark brown. And there they are, pretzel buns in a steam oven. They're super easy and you don't have to mess with all that boiling soda water business. And you still get a beautiful bun that's crispy and chewy on the outside and beautiful fluffy on the inside. These are really delicious and super easy in your steam oven. If you don't have a steam oven, you can still make them. You just do 4 cups of water, 3 tablespoons of soda, and then you drop those in that boiling water. And then you'll bake them the same way. You can find this recipe and over 200 other recipes on my blog, cookingwithrachel101.com. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Subscribing is free. And if you want to be notified every time I post a new video, hit the bell.